There we are. Sorry.
Right around the corner, our appraisal was $80,000 less. That's a big difference. It was the same type of home in the same neighborhood in the same condition and age.
A recent study found that Latino and Black homeowners are about twice as likely as white homeowners to get low appraisals. For example, one Black homeowner received an appraisal more than double the original after removing family photos, Black art, and books from her home. If you believe your home is unfairly appraised because of race or national origin,
I heard you reading
that can violate the Fair Housing Act. Contact HUD at hud.gov/fairhousing.
Yeah, I heard the first part of that error message.
Everyone has a right to fair housing. A public service message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability.
All right, here we
I'm
go.
one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program Mega Worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I think we're up and running again. I had a massive crash like seconds before we went on the air, and then I was able to restart and get right back up. I feel that's sort of blessed. It reminds me of that scene in The World According to Garp where an airplane crashes into the house they're about to buy, and he's like, "We'll take it," and they're like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "It's been pre-disastered. Nothing bad could ever happen here." Yeah, it kind of works that way. So speaking of pre-disastered, right out of the gate,
the war's over, by the way.
Yeah, officially, hostilities have terminated, except they have not. All right, I'm going to put Johnny Million in here online, folks. Take me a minute to catch up because the rebuild. Hi, there you are. According to this, the worst nightmare of magatry is coming true currently. Because Israel isn't ready to stop fighting Iran, which, by the way, I'm all in for people talking about how Netanyahu is a monster. You're absolutely right that he and the members of his party specifically, either in an attempt to protect themselves from going to jail for corruption, or just believe that nobody wants to change a horse midstream. So why not start a war to protect your position? You know, all those, that old chestnut, you know, when those things come back around, that there's plenty of reasons to not like this guy. But one of the things that Donald Trump really did to help Netanyahu more and the Likud party, the leadership behind him that's actually supporting all this stuff, was to jumpstart this situation in Iran, knowing that there is no out but through. And that's why other presidents have not done this. It is not
when you say that.
Well, because it's just my charm, Johnny Million. It's just the way I deal with things. It's just how
through.
Yeah. But this is I see. But in all honesty, like Donald Trump starting this thing, the reason other presidents didn't do this or look for a peaceful means to do it, besides, I don't know, ethics, humanity, wanting the America to have some sort of moral standing in the world, you know, as best we can with any country of this size's history, you know, like it's always going to be an uphill battle, but you at least give it the good old college try. But Donald Trump was like, damn the Christianity, full speed ahead. And in this particular instance, hands this tactical reality to the Israeli leadership, which is, if we stop short, they're dead. Israel will get, as soon as Iran gets ballistic missiles again, it's on, right? This is just because they really don't have another choice. Iran has a way to convey even to the public that might not be with them that, if we don't hit them first, Israel's going to strike us because they just did. And if we don't have a big scary nuclear missile, America will attack us. You know how we know? Because they just did. Yes, they may have changed leadership. Yes, Democrats may be in charge. Yes, there may be sane people we can talk to, but how long will that last? So Donald Trump, the deal maker, has all but guaranteed that there will be no deal with this current regime in whatever standing it has, whether it's just the IRGC, whether they find a new Ayatollah, it doesn't matter, because the art of the deal guy has put Iran in a situation where they would be morons to take any deal from the United States, even if a Democratic president came in and said, this is for real. We're going to work with the IAEA and our European partners, just like the JCPOA. We're going to, make this as, painless as possible for the public in Iran. We're going to really put our best foot forward, because their response can be, and probably tactically, intellectually, reasonably should be, yeah, but what if the next guy tears it up like the last guy did? All you guys, because you're a democracy, we don't change leadership but every 42 years. You guys have to, go through this every 4 years. So how do we make a deal with you guys if there's no standard that we can look to the United States for? And that, more than anything, is the impact that Donald Trump has had on the U.S., is that the great deal maker has effectively made any deal we make a farce. Because he tore up the JCPOA, because he claims ownership of stuff he never built, because he destroys things that were working just because of ego, or his, quite frankly, his increasingly, I don't go, needy daddy issue relationship with Vladimir Putin, which, at two moments looked like it was on the downslope when he just had, and it turns out it was just him, disinhibiting because of his brain turning to, cottage cheese on a Mack truck dashboard in the middle of winter, middle of summer, that, he just like, I don't like him. And here's a big swear word because I'm mad at Vladimir Putin, when he probably got permission 24 hours.
Dashboard.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like some trucker's driving, he just sits it right there. That's his lunch. And then he's like, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, next to the rubber duck.
Yes, have 3 days really passed? So Trump, needless to say, has set up a situation where no matter who gets in office, and whether Netanyahu is broomed, let's say an entirely new peace-loving leadership comes into Israel, they're even working on a two-state solution, right? For real. All bets are off. Netanyahu, gets, I don't know, arrested, fined, and jailed, right? Still, the future leadership of Israel for the next probably half a decade, if the regime in Iran maintains in any form, if the IRGC still runs it, if a new Ayatollah runs it, they are in jeopardy, even if they mean well. Same with the United States. And Donald Trump has effectively, I would say, done this on purpose, but I think he's too stupid to recognize ramifications past the end of his nose or his belly. So what he's really been set up is, this is what PNAC was for. This is what the Project for a New American Century was you start these wars in a way that creates a boiling point that almost no one can turn down the heat on. Because if you try, the vengeful part or the paranoid part of that leadership, whichever jockeys for position in Iran or another, allied country of Iran, they're just looking at the clock or the calendar going, one of these days, the U.S. is going to change hands and it's back on again. So we must have nukes, ballistic missiles, terror proxies to tie them up in this stuff forevermore. And this is where having someone who's never had any responsibility in his life whatsoever for anyone other than his own bottom line running a country is a terrible idea. Now, maggots have started to recognize this a little too late, I would say.
Yeah.
And they're the 6 million Dems or Dems adjacent that somehow thought Donald Trump was going to give Netanyahu what for, And that video of Trump Plaza Gaza, he was just messing around. He didn't mean it when he was going to. He literally was the only candidate in the last Republican, Democrat, or otherwise in the last, I don't know, since the creation of Israel, that's called for ethnic cleansing of Gaza as a policy. He did this during the campaign. Where are these people going to go? They can't really stay there, so they got to go. We'll get these other countries to absorb them, right? They're going to move there. We'll move them to Egypt or Jordan. All the countries, by the way, that have spent the last 4 decades at least guaranteeing they can't leave. The Egyptians, fearing the IRGC reach inside their own government, one of the biggest barriers that they put up for their own national defense in Egypt is the border with Gaza. Because again, Israel is not the only country with a reinforced militaristic border with Gaza. It was, and the same thing with Jordan. Jordan, what we see as the West Bank and what evangelicals and their kind of fellow travelers are calling like Samaria, Judea and Samaria a lot right now. You'll see that language change. People like Huckabee say it a lot, which is, again, end times evangelical stuff. That used to be Transjordan, which was it's not quite Jordan's, it's not quite Israel's, but Jordan's going to oversee it, maybe, if we can ever stabilize. They did stabilize, and what happened when they stabilized? Never mind, too much trouble. And so they themselves have, Palestinian refugees in there that they box out, don't allow to get jobs, all that kind of stuff. So all these places that Donald Trump has said, well, that's where we're going to punt them to. They'll go down there. They'll be much happier in effectively permanent refugee camps forever. So I still struggle, Johnny Million and chat room. Please hit the like, share the show, give a thumbs up if you understand what I'm talking about, what I'm saying right now. I still struggle to understand the justification of the Free Palestine crowd and the like, who, by the way, again, I hate to hammer this home too much, never protested when Donald Trump was meeting Netanyahu in secret at Mar-a-Lago. They were never out front of that place, but they were out front of the DNC calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe when both the Biden administration and the DNC were trying to thread the national security interests of the Israeli people so they don't get raped and murdered and set fire to, while at the same time trying to create a two-state solution for the Palestinians, both in Gaza and the West Bank, which might be to quote Jeff Goldblum in Deep Cover, or is that three things? Is that a three-state solution? That somehow the controlled opposition was opposing the side that was actually trying to help, and was totally ignoring or fantasizing that Donald Trump, actively fantasizing that Donald Trump was going to be better for these people in the end than Biden or Harris. Now, I don't think at this point anybody, we got to take a break and we'll be back right after this. I don't think anybody is still making the argument that Harris would have invaded Iran, would have given Netanyahu 10 more months of bombing, unfettered, would have, cut off Ukraine at the knees, or quite frankly, would have invaded Venezuela and kidnapped their leader. There might have been other solutions to this. There might have been a new attempt at the JCPOA that might have been a measured thing through the UN and other things with guarantees for the Iranian people and that kind of stuff, humanitarian stuff. But it wouldn't have been a $1.5 trillion budget while literally saying, can you imagine Harris standing in front of a group of donors saying, we can't afford childcare in this country. We can't afford daycare. That's the state's problem. We've got to raise our military funding. We can't do this. Anybody who buys that right now is selling the opposite, was lying the whole time, was never supportive of the Palestinians, and knew for a fact that Donald Trump would do his best to wipe them out as a people, and wanted to have some sort of plausible deniability. Because there is no other explanation for, Jill Stein voters or whoever else that in the confrontation between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris made that decision. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. I'm giving you more credit than you deserve. I'm just saying.
Thank you, man.
I'm just saying to those folks, I don't think you're stupid. I think you meant ill. And maybe you can change morally. We'll be back. I mean, I hope.
Listen to Where Are They Now?
Let's welcome Jerry Beck.
A famous story with
got,
Blanc. Around the time he started the Flintstones, he got into this horrific car accident, and he was out in a coma for like a month or two. And finally, the doctors started talking to him in a coma. They started addressing him as Bugs Bunny, and he came out of the coma basically.
They're like, he'll be fine.
You know,
Tune into Where Are They Now, Saturdays at 10 a.m.
Hey, listen. This is a WCPT moment in labor. When Serena Williams won a title.
Put this low so that we're not blasting on that.
Right.
Hi, chat room. Hit the like, share the show.
No Phil today. No Phil today.
There's no Phil today, right? He's okay.
He had a previous...
Thank you, Hal Vickery. Oh, my God.
Conflict.
YouTube permits this, but not the numerals. Everyone in the administration, I mean this as it would be used in a restaurant. I see. Oh, 86. Right, sure. You have to 86 it. Yeah. Trump and thank you for the 47 usage. I see. I got that. I see where you're going. Because the other way around. Yeah. Couldn't do the other amount. Unfortunately, read the decimal as should be. Decimal as should be. Understood. Yes, that means get him out of here. We're done. We're not serving that at this restaurant anymore. It's gone bad. 86, the oysters, they were in the sun.
I cannot eat 86 oysters.
I can. I could totally do it.
Really?
I'm a big oyster fan. Yeah. I mean, especially if they're like Kunamono or the, East Coast ones that are little teeny ones. I mean, it's the best way to eat an animal from the rooter to the tutor. It's a zero waste circumstance.
Yeah, because the shell is just like calcium that they produce.
Yeah. I mean, you can grind that up.
Is it calcium?
It's no. It's we're gonna have to look that up. It's the mother of pearl part of it you can use to make fret markers. You can use it to.
Sure, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I have a real hard time with anything clam or oyster. My parents used to use clamato all the time.
Oh, oof. It's like that old Richard Jenny bit, whoever drank tomato juice went, needs fish.
Needs fish.
Fish. Yeah, it's so good. Such a tight joke.
I can get that. And there's that and like tongue depressor wood, like popsicle sticks are two things that just thinking about can get me.
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, Johnny Million, is it a sign of the golden age of America that Americans are parting with more of their gold than ever in terms of gas prices, CPI, and then of course, I mean, I struggle with this one because I don't know if this is a good sign or a bad sign. I've flown a good deal of Spirit Airlines in my life, and it's never been fun. It's always been necessity. This is the Greyhound bus of the air, and now, granted. I have one rule with an airplane that is sacrosanct. Everything else is optional, which is same amount of landings as takeoffs. That's all I ask for.
Oh, yeah. That's key.
Yeah. Obviously there's some minor variations of that. No holes in the fuselage during the flight. As few, on other airlines like first class passengers overserved while you sat on the tarmac, climbing onto the food cart and defecating, which one man famously did. I was glad I was not on that flight in particular, although for the story, it might be worth it. But I have to say that was, I think, I want to say a United flight, but a long time ago. But Spirit Airlines
Did you see what Axel said in the chat? The Spirit Airlines terminals will be turning into Spirit Halloween stores.
That's right. Yeah, that's basically all the planes should be. That's right. There you go.
That's an amazing joke.
That's hilarious. Yeah, absolutely.
Drywick Geek also did that.
Oh,
or is that the same person?
I don't know. We're flickering. That was weird. So, yeah, they're the same. That's two accounts on the same. He's both on our YouTube and our Twitch. So if you like any of those things, you can watch on all or both. But subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you can, subscribe to the Twitch channel. That helps us grow. I'm also on Facebook. It's the Hal Sparks page on Facebook where the show is airing right now. Find it, like it. Follow the page. That all helps us. I'm spread all over the place, so I don't have like the singular number in one joint that some people have, but it's because I believe in going where the customer is. Maybe it's the touring comic in me and now touring musician, because before we get into the current unpleasantness, I will be
Can we do pleasantness?
Yes. This is not even the happy ending. This is the happy beginning. I will be in Chicago for a Nerd Halen show 2 weeks from today. Very exciting. And I have to say, let's see, do I have the thing on here? It'll cover up Johnny. Oh, that's the wrong one. As they go. Here it is.
The Vixen is a great room.
Yeah, May 23rd at the Vixen in Chicago. We will be there. Please come out and see us. Nerd Halen at the Vixen.
Can you get me and a couple friends in there, Hal?
Of course. Yeah. And by the way, any of my Patreons get a +1 with themselves to the show. So they can, if you're a Patreon
Mrs.
subscriber.
William was talking about it, and a couple of our friends were like, let's go see the Nerd Halen.
Aw, it's so sweet. You'll get to see me tour with in-ears for the first time. That's going to be magical.
Ooh.
It's been very helpful.
Right, let me know if you expect me to play anything, because I will have to panic and figure something out ahead of time.
I think we should. I got to talk to. We should have like a dueling guitars thing on like Everybody Wants Some or something, where we have an extended break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you can just kind of play back and forth.
So,
that might be the
Caleb
thing.
Can just like beat me down. He's so good, Hal.
He's very good, but he also, on the spectrum, his needle hits Eddie. So it
does.
You do have a little room in there. You could mess around. You could throw in some Brian May licks or something in there and really mess with his head.
Okay, all right.
See what I'm saying? I'm giving.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that, because that would be fun.
It would be lovely. I insist.
And I'm friends with the drummer in Mockstar. They're an amazing hair metal band.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we will make it happen. Either way, it will be a reunion worth having. We will be doing the show in studio that day as well, which will be nice. And I got to say, I guess I'm kind of glad I don't even have the option of flying Spirit into Chicago on that day. Not that I would. Thank God for a United terminal at O'Hare.
I avoided it the entire time.
I've been on a few times.
The worst airline I flew was, remember National?
Oof. Or
it was kind of like, it had a greenish logo.
Remember
Airline?
Northwest Airlines? That was the airline of choice for custody exchange when I was a kid. When I would fly home to Kentucky, and I'd fly into Cincinnati and go to Kentucky, which is in Kentucky, because that's how much we value geography in Kentucky. And in that region is that the greater Cincinnati airport is in northern Kentucky. Anyways,
wow.
Northwest was the thing. That was the puddle jumper. That was, by the way, the same airline that Donald Trump was trying to purchase at one point. And then he tried to compete with Trump Airlines, which, shocker, is reflected directly in his current presidency and his handling of COVID and every other thing. People's Express. I was, honestly, given a choice with Spirit Airlines, I was getting to the point where I'd be like, I think I would rather put myself in a box and FedEx myself someplace.
Right?
Yeah. We got to take another break because we zipped through that, and I rambled through the first one. So
we got some bad feedback about BSing during the actual show. So I'm sorry. I'll try to keep it normal.
No, not at all. We're not going to be. We're not going to have audience capture here. That's a bad road to go down, my friend. Be yourself. All right. Now you're leaving entirely. We'll be back right after this with more of the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. And gas prices are coming down so fast. You know why? Because the war ended, and as soon as the war ended, the prices are coming right down. And the war was officially terminated.
It's not market manipulation.
It was terminated. This is the thing and the things of the nature. The war has been terminated. You didn't know that? Did you know that? We'll be back right after this.
I got to run to the piddle.
Yes, I have. I've got you taken care of. Here it is. Johnny Million. Remember, you're wearing a lavalier. You're wearing Johnny. You're wearing a lavalier, buddy. Johnny, you are wearing. You have a mic on your. You have a mic. You're wearing a microphone, Johnny. Johnny. Johnny, oh, okay. It went out. I think he turned it off. Hold on. No, Johnny, you're wearing a lavalier, John, hot mic. Johnny, you're not. Please mute. For God's sake. All right. I'm kidding, of course. He's fine. All right. We got to get. I actually did news prep this morning. Dag nabbit. There we go. Put this up here. He'll be back in just one moment. Meanwhile, it's just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Chad and I. Okay, bringing this stuff up. I have a whole dashboard of work that I did this morning, by golly and by gum. Where are we? Okay. Here we are in just a moment. Chat room, hit that like, share the show. I already said that part. Sorry, I'm on it. I got it. I'm good. I hate it when Taco says, would you rather have a nuke? Yes, precisely. Because that's the binary we live in this world. I always take the low note challenge on just the two of us. Yeah, it's because of the version of it in Austin Powers. I forget which one it was. I want to say Goldmember, but it might not have been that one. It might have been in. There he is. He's back. Thank you. Yes, I hear you.
Stopped being able to hear you for a second. I did hear the entire thing of me wearing my lavalier. You didn't have the we got to get the sample of Naked Gun.
No, well, I had this going. Hold on. Where is it? I had this going the entire time.
Oh, I heard it. Oh, wait.
I just had that going.
That's fantastic. Well, we need to get the one with Leslie Nielsen going.
Yeah, right. Or we could just track one live.
Yeah, I can just do it.
Where's your commitment, Johnny Million? Where is it?
I just remember wondering why they were showing his character drink so much water during that press conference.
Guest has
Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program.
Battle stations, everybody. Let's go, 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 go.
Mega Worldwide.
So, there's been a bunch of, if I may, things in there. Let's see. Here we go. I got to open this up and close this window so I can see what the heck I'm doing. There's been a bunch of the old Democrats aren't doing anything. Okay. Can I catch you up on some of the things that Democrats have been doing?
Yes.
Okay. Ron Wyden rolled out the Drug Deal Disclosure Act, which targets the Trump administration making backroom deals with Big Pharma to create the farce that is Trump RX, which is just a ripoff of Good RX, except Good RX uses one of the ways they keep prices down, besides offering the name brand of drugs, they also offer the generic. Trump RX offers no generics. It's all the name brands. Because and I know you're thinking, how can he offer the prices at such a discount on Trump RX? Well, because A, they're the same deal that they made with Good RX for the name brands. which is 20% off or something, which means you just artificially inflate your price 20% for insurance purposes, and then when you sell it on a market, you lower it to a different margin because you want to move it, or but also the way he did it, even beyond the promise that I think Mark Cuban's organization made, which is we're going to move a certain amount of your product, so you should probably give us a discount. We're not going to buy it in bulk, but you guys will move it through here. So offer us this and we will put it in our marketplace. And the pharmaceutical companies did that. Trump did it by taking your tax dollars.
Almost sounds like oil.
A little bit, almost like the strategic reserve. So Trump used the same premise as this strategic reserve to pre-buy using basically the stuff that he decried during COVID and still used, which of course people will remember from Operation Fart Steed.
Captain's log.
Which apparently is where, the vaccine companies created the jab and Joe Biden forced everybody to get it, even though it all happened under Trump. All the rules, all the payments, all the money that went to the pharmaceutical companies to create the vaccines or attempt to create the vaccines in the case of, I guess, AstraZeneca, or create the non-mRNA version, which is what Johnson & Johnson created, which is, by the way, used, I guess, the old-fashioned system of use a dead form of the actual virus itself to create a vaccine. That's the one that gave everybody, tachycardia and myocarditis, because you get it from COVID. And so even the dead form of that caused the immune reaction in some people that caused inflammation of the heart temporarily, mostly, 15, 16-year-old boys that have a high testosterone spike that's entering a new phase in their body. And so young men typically were the ones that got myocarditis. They would get from COVID, but nobody in the vaccine, MAHA crowd ever tracked that part of it. Only the ones who got it from the vaccines, which of course they blamed on the mRNA. They're genetically modifying it. Everybody's going to turn into a zombie, all that nonsense. Those folks never point out that it was the Johnson & Johnson version. And this was a side effect, not of the vaccine, but of the COVID virus itself and your body's immune overreaction to it. Right. So, but facts, boring. Anyways, in the middle of this, Donald Trump creates this Trump RX, tacks his name on it, like he's putting his picture in the, Trump is doing all these, morbid, iconic things of himself, like he's Saddam Hussein. But it appears more and more with the gold statue of him, which, by the way, is probably the most authentic statue of him ever, because A, it's hollow, and B, there's nothing wrong with the right ear on the statue. So, it's just like nailed it. So Ron Wyden rolled out the Drug Deal Disclosure Act, which would target the Trump administration's closed-door arrangements with major pharmaceutical companies. The bill would force disclosure of the deal's terms and require independent accounting. Go figure. Like Inspector General stuff. Another reason, by the way, why Jimmy Carter was one of our greatest presidents and a good man. About whether they actually lower costs for families instead of just padding corporate profits. Wyden also released a committee report arguing that Trump's highly publicized Oval Office events with drug CEOs produced sweetheart deals heavy on tax breaks and regulatory favors, not meaningful price cuts. So they didn't lose any money on these deals. They got the money through other means. So there wasn't a tax cut on the thing. And if you want to put it in terms that Republicans can understand, and maggots, please gather around for this one. The way,
maggot.
Yeah, come on, maggots, sit a spell. One of the ways they do this is that it's a redistribution of wealth. They take money from people who don't use the drug, and they force you to pay for it through your taxes anyways. So all this like bootstrapper, I don't need to be paying for, people's lifestyle
problems. People's healthcare.
Right. Yeah, you're doing it. You are doing it.
You're doing it.
You're doing it now. You're just not doing it up
front. More
front.
ways than just that.
Oh, yeah. Several. I mean, there's plenty of other versions. And Sue just wrote, government is corrupt. Nope. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. People in government are corrupt, and it matters who you elect. Ron Wyden is not a corrupt politician.
I saw a really amazing take the other day that you've probably said on here more than once. If it were always both sides and all of government is bad, why is it always one side that doesn't want you to vote?
Yeah, exactly. What difference would it make? I mean, I
what
guess,
difference would it make? If voting didn't matter, who cares?
Yeah, they got control of both sides. Right.
Yeah.
And Last Life Crisis says that sounds like socialism, except it isn't. What it is corporate cronyism, because if it was technically socialism, the government would build its own drug factory and make those drugs in that factory, and the taxpayer would be forced to pay for those drugs, whatever they chose, even if you didn't vote about it. That would be the socialist version of it. So if Donald Trump and his crowd got in and they were running things like Xi Jinping runs things, like Vladimir Putin runs things, like Orban ran things, which is, by the way, what the bill was fashioned after, was like going after how Orban ran things. Wyden was sort of, I got a weird echo there. That if it was if it was socialism, you would have a top-down control over the production. And if Donald Trump decided that the morning after pill doesn't qualify, we don't need to make that for people because it's, you're not allowed to have it and the people shouldn't pay for it. But but Viagra should, that's what the factory would create. It wouldn't be a matter of what people need or want to buy. It would be it would simply be by directive. And your taxes, kind of like the war in Iran, would go for it whether you support it or not. So that, again, it's an important distinction. We don't have socialism of any sort in this country. I know people love the word. We have democratic taxation. And the only time people complain about it is when your taxes are used for something that you don't support. But there were more people who showed up to vote for Donald Trump and his group last time, put them in charge and said, hey, here's the purse strings in Congress, have at it. And boy, have they. And if both sides are corrupt and government is always corrupt, then, which, by the way, is often the fallback excuse of people who didn't vote or voted for Trump tacitly or voted third party, and they are hunting around for cover for their guilty conscience,
or got all their
deniability.
News from Facebook.
Right. Then they would, they're the ones who go, it wouldn't make any difference anyways. Well, flat out nonsense. It's a farce on all fronts. And if it didn't matter, then why would a third party candidate matter? If it's just run that way, then even the third party candidates are sock puppets meant to drive you out to the thing, which there may be more argument for that than we care to say. Again, Jill Stein and Mike Flynn sharing a table with Vladimir Putin should have been a red flag. So, anyways, somebody said, why not do majority votes for everything? Another good question. Because you would lose constitutional protections for minority groups all the time. You would not have a secular society. You would have a Christian society. If you want, if you did a majority vote at several times in our history, you would have had 10-year bills that would have, solidified power. You do need committees and all this stuff. Believe me, we started with this. Human beings started with the strongest people and the loudest people sitting around a fire making decisions for everybody else, and a lot of fighting broke out. And then they went, okay, well, that last decision, I don't think we were getting all the facts last time. And then they went, well, let's have a committee before we vote on it. Let's talk about it before we talk about it. That happened. We've gotten to this stage because we're trying to remedy these things. The people that are trying to make...
And if you say burn it all down, we will do this again, and we'll do it exactly the same way.
Exactly. Only it will be terrible for anybody who's on the receiving end for a very long time. Anybody who thinks that going back to a Wild West strongman version of things on either side will involve, people being lined up against a wall and gotten rid of if they're not purely on the side of whoever the leadership is. And it won't matter left or right, because it never has. It never has. Famously, both in the Soviet Union when they became communist, and when in China the same way, one of the biggest groups that got killed in those takeovers were the true believers, because it would never be pure enough for them, and the people who gained power knew this, and they ended up putting them up against the wall. Happened in Cuba, happened in a bunch of places in South America. The point is that a mixed economy is the reality that is the only thing that can survive, and a democracy where everybody is heard and participates is the only thing that survives, because without the buy-in of the public, there is no public system at all. There are just people who will, blow up bridges. So, and then if you ignore that, you go, let's just start all over. The very people who were saying that elected Donald Trump for his populist views, and he's blowing up bridges, ladies and gentlemen. He can't wait to do it. So again, most of the people who decry burn it all down are saying so from the warm side of a bay window, and oftentimes have never worked a hard job in their life, and will gladly ride on the shoulders, just like Donald Trump, of the working class, and people who actually have to show up.
Regulars who think that they would benefit from a strong man, not on society. Like, well, I'm strong, I know how to do things. I'm handy with my hands. I can do all that stuff. There's a lot you might be missing out on.
So, but right now, Democrats, while out of power, are still introducing bills, trying to get them to the floor, holding, votes in the Senate. It's almost an impossibility, even though Wyden produced this. If the Dems take over the House and the Senate, that bill will get a vote and will more than likely become law. It's one of the things that terrifies Donald Trump more than anything. Along with the War Powers Act. Democrats do not have the ability to unilaterally put a bill on the floor that challenges Donald Trump on the War Powers Act, because we don't have the votes. Because our representative government was handed over.
Say what you will, it's the Democrats' fault.
Right. The Democratic...
it's their fault.
It must be, yeah. Even though they're in the minority, it's always the minority's fault. It's funny how fast people become... they talk like Republicans in that situation. If we could just stampede and run over everything, we know better than they do, instead of convincing them. Because I think they can be convinced. And the ACA is a great example, because, right now it's being decimated by the people who are in charge. But while it was unpopular when it came out on the Republican side, it increased in popularity because it worked. The biggest defender of SNAP last time during the shutdown was, of course, Josh Hawley, because his state floats on SNAP, relies on blue states to keep it afloat. And so, in those situations, when reality hits, Republicans all start talking like Democrats about these programs. Like, do we have a solution for this? Yeah, we had one. You guys gutted it. Behind the scenes, to donors, Mike Lee and everybody else will tell them we need to shift to a tariff program so we can lay the burden on the consumer, basically create a backdoor VAT tax, which is what Trump is trying to do, so that the poor end up paying more in taxes over time, because they do it at every point of sale. That's what they're trying to do. Pass it on to companies. Companies will pass it on to the consumer, and the consumer will inflate the economy, and rich people won't have to pay taxes. That's exactly what that is. That does not help the white working class. It doesn't help the BIPOC working class. It is specifically to help rich people keep their money. So somebody said you should never use backdoor and Trump in the same sentence. According to Candace Owens and others, but when it comes to Netanyahu, maybe not. So we got to take a break again, because I'm blasting through these segments. We got so much to talk about, but we got a big show today, so it's okay. And Phil isn't with us, so we can dig into these a little bit more.
It's going to get deep.
Trump said yesterday it's unconstitutional, the War Powers Act. And yet, we'll be back right after this. Is that a teaser, Johnny? Does that work as a teaser?
It's officially.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. We'll be back right after this. It's a big shoe. A really big shoe. Snap collectively puts billions into state economies. Yes, and if you'll notice that a lot of the Republicans pretend it doesn't. They'll tell you all the time their people are bootstrappers, and it's these are people of the land, right? And yet, yeah. So there's okay, and then Do you know about the new affordability agenda that was put forward this week?
No, there's a new one. Did he figure out what the word means?
No, it's not from Republicans.
Oh.
They're not even using they're pretending no one's even using the word anymore.
Yeah, the word doesn't exist, even though they ran on it.
Yeah, like groceries. It's an old-fashioned word.
Like groceries.
Unbelievable. Like, I gotta say, like, it is my faith in humanity, and that since the human brain hasn't changed in 125,000 years, that if anybody has figured it out, everybody can figure it out. And so if you haven't figured it out, you're not really trying, or you are actually, you've worked it out and you think it's better the other way. You actually support the awful, but you're hiding that fact. Because there isn't really another reason for it, like for that. And again, this idea that everybody's been hypnotized, or, there's too much money in politics. So we see ads and we're like, you see the American flag and that guy's family? I buy it. Lord Almighty.
See that AI horse with the AI eagle?
Right. I'm convinced this Republicans falls, but most Democrats are fake opposition to them. Jeffries never puts pressure on the Democrats that keep crossing the line to follow the agenda. Actually, TL Grom, that isn't true. And I'm about to show you. Because the only material stuff that's actually been put through is stuff that Hakeem Jeffries has actually put forward. That's the big difference between the new affordability agenda, which I think is great, but has no shot of ever becoming law, any of the stuff they're putting forward, the Progressive Caucus. Meanwhile, the Rules Committee is actually getting stuff done.
They're actually CPT 820, where facts matter.
We've often heard...
You're locked into the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
We've often heard, ladies and gentlemen, that politics is the art of the possible, right? Or whatever. That's whatever that quote is. That really you're only operating on what's possible. And I know you guys have heard my rant about fighting and fight for a long time. And my analogy, which I believe is sound, that no one has ever started a heavyweight fight ever where the referee has said touch gloves and come out legislating, and where a UFC fight is won by committee. Occasionally you'll see a draw, or some sort of by decision, as it were, but the fans don't buy it and everybody gets mad, right? It's a forced form of a win, because we're not fighting, we're legislating. As a matter of fact, democracy was created so we stop fighting and start trying to work out our differences in a peaceful way.
Imagine that.
And the failure of it often comes when people give up on the process, because they've either been promised too much and the other side, their side under-delivered because of reality, and they ended up not having the votes. See Obama second term, for example. Yep. But in this one, I'll compare two things. The progressives in the House have put out what's called House and Senate progressives, both together, put out a thing called the New Affordability Agenda, which is basically their version of a contract with America. And in it, there will be, it includes proposals to cap corporate control over seed patents. So, if a company creates a new, grain or a corn seed or whatever, that they can't hold that in perpetuity forever and create, super farms where, if we saw those like germination cases that actually farmers won, which is because you can't control the wind. If you put seed in an area and it blows over onto somebody else's farm, and then they go genetically test that person's corn and it's the patented seed, that person gets sued. And he's like, hey, I didn't have a choice. You guys polluted my corn.
I can control some wind.
Right. I've yet to see that. So Greg Kazar and the progressive, thank you. They are also doing, they're creating universal down payment support for first-time home buyers. That's a cool idea. Fund community-run childcare, which obviously Donald Trump says we should have no business involved in daycare, childcare, any of that stuff. And require time and a half overtime pay, all financed by higher taxes on the wealthy. Great idea. And let me let me put this as plainly as I can. The vast majority of it could never pass because it's not designed to. It's largely a PR statement, kind of like the Green New Deal. It's a statement of purpose, but the budgetary aspects of it would be impossible without, unless we have the override votes to get past reconciliation. And because of the voting situation we had in the last election, it is clear that Republicans do not fear the Democratic electorate, and because reconciliation has to lower the budget deficit, they can guarantee that a lot of this won't pass, even though they're more than happy. Again, $1.5 trillion military budget when we couldn't win more and we got more ammo than we had before the war and all this nonsense. It's silly. It's absurd, but that doesn't matter to that crowd. So anyways, Democrats are pushing going into the midterms specifically. How do we make home ownership and childcare cheaper? So one of the primary driving talking points of all Democrats going into the fall. It isn't just Trump is awful and look at the awful he's doing. These are the things we'd like to do. The child tax credit, for example, is something that the Democrats are for, pushed, got done, and then as soon as Republicans gained control, they got rid of. If there's no difference between the parties, why bother on the Democratic side to do this? Right. Okay. So meanwhile,
for those just listening, I threw my hands in the air.
Yes, right. So the in the minority, the Democrats are using like rules and procedures in committees because it's the only tool that they have to slow down a lot of things. For all the hating on Chuck Schumer, the shutdown of the DHS is still ongoing in the Senate. The House passed its ICE funding bill last week, late the week before. Hard to keep track because it's such a mess. A version of it, late at night, passed it, right?
Yeah.
And yet the Senate will not pass it because Democrats are holding firm, and they are using. That's why the Republicans are screaming about we need to blow up the filibuster. Why would you need to blow up the filibuster if there's a secret agreement to never do it? Democrats have held the funding on DHS this entire time. It is still shut down. It is still not being funded. And reminder, Democrats have multiple proposals for funding border security and immigration and customs enforcement, as you have to in any sensible country, in a sensible and nonviolent way. And Republicans are willing to shut it all down because they don't want body cameras on the ICE agents. Democrats are fighting and have been fighting. They just do it in committee, and Republicans control the committees, and most people don't watch it unless you're a C-SPAN junkie. So you wouldn't know.
Yep.
You wouldn't know. And so it's easy to talk yourself into nothing's happening because your party is in the minority, and they can't bring things to the floor except to clamor about things, to make statements on the floor, which are necessary and important and loud, and many Democrats do. But unless you watch C-SPAN, or they said something that was violent or dangerous or broke news, like because they're quitting or they set their papers on fire or some nonsense, it wouldn't make the news because it's not news. It's expected. The Democrats are against this stuff. They just don't have the power right now to do anything about it. We can change that in the fall, but the only way it will change is if Democratic voters show up. Period. Republicans control the calendar of things that will get voted on, but Democrats can hold things up in the committee, and they are. They are blocking whatever they can. So they are. The biggest thing is the difference this fall. What are the numbers on beside and again, Democrats are filing things on drug prices, the War Powers Act. The new affordability agenda is dealing with the cost of living on a bunch of fronts, all of which or part of which could get through with a Democratic majority in both House and Senate if you had enough to override Trump's veto. But even then, we'll talk about it on the other side, because oversight and procedure and the actual democracy of the people who have been elected, who are in charge of the minority right now, does matter. And it is affecting things. And the DHS funding is still not there because Democrats are holding the line. We'll be back right after this.
Facts matter now more than ever.
They do.
Mm-hmm. They certainly do. A lot of Democratic voters already showed up in Louisiana. Republicans are throwing out the ballots now because of the Supreme Court, a decision that is now affecting current elections. Right. Because Donald Trump's in power. He formed the DOJ. We gave him the right to appoint judges and the like. And those people have an agenda, and all that, balls and strikes nonsense that Republicans have been selling for years about who they put on the bench has always been nonsense and always will be nonsense. So, yeah. I mean, I look, I dig the two legs in a pair of pants in the same pair of pants argument, and that it's the money in politics that drives everybody to vote their way. But then again, where's the Republican version of the ACA guaranteeing 24 million people who are uninsured their insurance? Doesn't exist, and it's not going to exist. Trump has no plan for any of that. His thing about lowering drug prices didn't actually do it. It was just a giveaway to the pharmaceutical companies to make more profits on their drugs than they would have had they just made a deal to do it the same way as GoodRx. It's absurd. And I think increasingly people know that. I think we've got, there might be still some people trolling in Democratic circles and liberal and progressive circles pretending they don't know this, but that's exactly what they are. They're either bots or paid influencers, or, like Twitter accounts that are set in the Philippines or something like that are like, I'm a Mr. America 101, or they have BLM in their title. They say they check all the right boxes, but it's wolf in sheep's clothing again. And somebody's saying, so by the fall, what good is voting going to be? Well, it will matter more than ever. And again, they won't be able to run hard red candidates in these purple leaning districts when they redistrict them. That's why there'll be a bunch of holdups again, why they had to do the primaries and then do this. So, and they know that won't last long. They won't be able to hold on to that. I'll tell you what the averages are and where this looks like it's going. There, what races are up for grabs and what Dems are targeting, and what our positioning will more than likely be after the election in the House anyways. If we could do this in the Senate in the same way, which would be lovely, but is a longer shot, but still possible. This is, then you'll see some real change. Trump's nominees cannot answer the question directly. If he won the election for 2020, the following additional question would be, is Bigfoot real? Thanks, God's warrior. Agreed. Yeah. It's no surprise that they're talking about UFOs and UAPs right now, rather than talking about the Epstein files or Trump's war or prices. And I'll be back right after this. Hold on one second.
Okay.
A little bit of Austin Powers there. Should eat some asparagus and have people go,
oh, boy, asparagus.
Mm-hmm. Woof. Thank you so much, Candy, by the way. I fill my gas tank today. Wish me luck. Luckily, I drive the same 1.5 miles from work every day. That's where an electric car is really the winner there, Candy. That's one of the things, the biggest shift that can come, and what every president who really cares about national security should be talking about, us converting our consumer cars to electric or hybrid as fast as possible. because nothing will affect the control of supply and demand over oil and petroleum products faster than that, period. And then there becomes a real, the Donald Trump's coming around going, we should keep the spoils. Well, what if there are none? What if we don't need the oil? What if nobody does? What if all of Europe and the United States, the Western countries, make a concerted effort like they were doing under Obama, like they were doing under Biden? Again, the rescue package had some of the best like ecological protection laws, which Trump is trying to undo in the last 30 years. There was more, Trump and his whole Green New Scam nonsense. And then again, this is why I talk about, are we coming back? They muted themselves, so I don't hear Chicago. But one of the biggest things for me is this idea that we need to convince the freedom lovers out there that the best way to be free of constraints by the Middle East and the OPEC countries and all that kind of stuff is if your car runs on sunshine, dude, and you got a battery system at your house, and that's your investment over time instead of just pouring money, setting fire to it in the form of gas, seems very logical. It doesn't seem like a partisan thing. And again, we hate the guys in Cybertrucks because they all portray themselves as douchebags, but the irony is they're driving fully electric vehicles. Most of them have solar panels and charging walls in their house.
820, because facts
the irony
matter.
So, okay.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you if a putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Plus face little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
So on April 15th, House Democrats announced a new anti-corruption and democracy protection task force led by Joe Morrell to push bans on stock trading for officials, a binding ethics code, and potential term limits for Supreme Court justices, and broader ballot access protections for American voters. Democrats put this together, not Republicans. They're never going to. There is not a single aspect of this that, while Republicans pretend to want, that they are ever going to produce for real, to guarantee, and they'll present we're protecting the American voters' right to, speak as citizens of their country by eliminating the illegal immigrant vote, which does not exist. It's not a thing.
Oh.
It never has. It is
just like all those illegal immigrants on Medicare.
Right.
It's
the way sore losers who voted for a guy who never intended to do any of the stuff he sold them to cope. It's copium. He's going to get rid of all the illegal voters and then we'll really win because Democrats need a bunch of South American Catholics who are against abortion to come up here and start voting Democrat. It's an absurd premise from the start. It's silly. And again, increasingly, as Donald Trump is selling his gold card and there's H-1B visas and the like, he is catering to an immigrant class that is specifically there to vote Republican. This is their plan, not ours. Trying to make it so that people who have been in the country for decades can just come out of the shadows and become the citizens they actually are is, in the same way that Reagan kind of did when he did amnesty, is not trying to import voters 10 years from now from another country as much as Tucker Carlson would like to sell that, because quite frankly, he's sick of all the Hispanic Republicans that he has to deal with. He would rather write them off as Democrats and try to shun them all. Donald Trump is not trying to, get rid of the Castro administration to protect Cuban Americans. He wants all the Cuban Americans in Florida to go back to Cuba. That's the plan. Get them out. If your country is no longer unstable, your asylum claim goes out the window and we can denaturalize you. That's the plan.
Yeah.
It always has been, and that's because Donald Trump is a typical Republican. There is nothing magical or special or different about him. He is following the PNAC program to a T. The 7 countries they want to knock down like dominoes in the Middle East to dominate oil. The plan they set forward in the 1990s, Donald Trump has followed every single step of that while he's been president. He's had a couple of unique screw-ups that even other Republicans weren't dumb enough to take the bait on. One of them, of course, not planning for pandemics in a world where even his friends fly over from foreign countries and immunity has been an issue. Don't believe me? Ask the Mayans and the Aztecs what immunity by a body of people introduced to a new pathogen is like. You might want to protect against that if you actually care. So the Democrats have introduced this anti-corruption task force. This actually is in place right now. They're doing it in the minority, but they're tracking it. And the idea is that if they get the votes once they're in office, these will be the bills that will go to the floor. Jeffries put Morell in charge of it. Morell is what people would call pejoratively a centrist Democrat. He's not seen as a progressive or whatever, but all of these things, I think we can agree are good things were they to become bills, and they are well thought out. The task force is there they've crafted the legislation. They are working out, like implementation process. They're doing investigations to support them right now. So they have plenty of evidence when they start bringing them up as to why they're necessary, why they could do them during reconciliation, how these things are the kind of things you could pass during reconciliation that don't add to the budget, but limit the kind of corruption that we've seen under the Trump administration. So Joe Morell is heading this anti-corruption ethics task force. And they are positioning for this fall with the idea that they are going to, and this is April 19th to the 20th, they put together this framing organization within the DNC and within the Democrats in the House and the Senate as a referendum on Trump as the most corrupt administration in history, and also a second track for this train on affordability specifically. So that's what's happening. It doesn't matter who gets elected as a Democrat. This is what the agenda is going to be. These two parallel things: go after the corruption that is happening right in front of us, limit the president's powers beyond this kind of magical, unlimited version of things that the SCOTUS that he created, and that, again, voters helped him create in our representative government. The idea that he was going to replace people on the Supreme Court during his tenure, and he might, watch for, if he becomes when he becomes a lame duck, if Democrats have the House and the Senate, the push will be for Clarence Thomas to ditch out before the end of the year. So between the election and the swearing in of the new Congress, while Republicans still hold the House and the Senate, you will see them trying to jam somebody through in the Supreme Court to replace the older members so they can retain control of a conservative court for the next forever. Meanwhile, Democrats are pushing forward a term limits idea for Supreme Court members. And of course, the idea that if Clarence Thomas doesn't bug out by the end of the year in that window where they can replace him with somebody who's at least favorable or pretends like Amy Coney Barrett that she's a single issue SCOTUS and she'll be fine on other things, which Trump hates, which is ironic. That if he does stick around, Democrats have a plan to impeach him as well, based on his corruption. And that's part of this anti-corruption thing that they're pushing forward. House Democratic members on rules and other committees are using procedure to slow or complicate GOP priorities, the budget, culture war education bills, which they stopped in committee, elements linked to the DHS funding fight, which is still, again, seized up because Democrats in the Senate, headed by Chuck Schumer, as vilified as he is and as old and sort of silly as a human being as he is, he still managed to do it. Okay. April 27th, the Democrats are, if Donald Trump had not filed that the war has been terminated, even though he said yesterday or day before or whatever it was, that, this is unconstitutional. We don't have to do it. No other country has to do this, which is like, that's the standard now. I thought our Constitution and our country mattered. What's America first about going, other countries don't do it? Weird, but that was his argument. The Democrats, had he not filed that, were going to file a lawsuit that forces him to answer for this. Right now, so he answered it. He had to. He filed a thing that the war's over in Iran. He's been saying it a bunch, but they filed paperwork with the House saying it's done, which gives them 30 days to wind it down. Now, Democrats are like, yeah, this is performative nonsense. He has no intention of doing this. And he could jumpstart it today, and he thinks that starts a whole new 60 days. That's the plan. That's what Trump is going to do. If he wants to attack Iran again, he's going to, and he's going to say, well, I stopped that war. This is a new Iran war. This is Iran war part 2. So they had to file that it was over so he could start it up again. That's the plan. And then again, we still have that that block. Now we got to take a break. When I come back, I want to talk about the actual voting numbers. Where we're going. Okay, what the actual because I gave you a bunch of dates where Democrats, even in the minority, have either filed things that they want to do to show everybody what their plan would be, were they to get elected in the fall, an actual agenda that is in parallel with Trump is awful, but also here's the things we want to do to help lower the price of groceries, home ownership, gas prices, all that stuff, better environmental policy, better help for minorities and the poor, right? All those things that Democrats are for, they're filing all those things. They have all those things, but they are in the minority right now because the voters decided to make them in the minority. And still, they're pushing forward with a genuine agenda for what that will be. So when we come back, though, I want to talk about what the numbers are going to be, where we are right now and how many people are in each party and what the lines are in the House. And if everybody shows up this fall, what the numbers will be. What we could reach, there are 3 possibilities that they're seeing as far as possible advantages if they, whether there's a sweep or whether there's, districts they really think they've got a real genuine chance of turning over, or if the ones that are on the fence actually end up, jumping Democrat, what that looks like. We're going to talk about that when we come back. It's the House Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. Chat room. Are you hearing me? Do you feel me? Can I get an amen? Because I got to say, I hear a lot of folks with this kind of like, this sort of like Twitterati view of how things are working that is not based in reality. Just isn't. It's just like it's amazing to me. And look, if you think there should be more they're doing, I'd love to hear it, but it also has to be weighted against what they can actually do without the votes. Hal Vickery says, so if the war's over, when do we redeploy the troops away from the Middle East? That's exactly the trick, Hal Vickery. So good, excellent point. He's got 30 days to wind it down to bring those people out, and he could wait till the last day. He doesn't have to start. He could say they're tactically thinking of ways to wind it down for 30 days, and then the last day start pulling them out if that was the end of it. So he's not going to do that. And if Democrats sue to get this done, Republicans will block it. Why? Well, of course, because there's no difference between the parties. It's Kimchi, happy birthday.
Yay.
It's nice about here versus the radio stations when we do miss out on these off-air discussions and the occasional swearing, right? How about Hassan Abi guesting on the show? No. I would only like to talk to people that are either friends of mine who have emotional, social, and familial value, or people who actually want to solve the problems.
WCPT from TuneIn. This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide, on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
All right, so as of today-ish, there are 217 Republicans with one independent aligned with them in the House, and 212 Democrats. with 5 House seats currently vacant because of illness or resignation. And so there is and because of those people who are kind of out, there's been like the Republican, I think is Keene from New Jersey, who's missed 50 votes because he's out for an unspecified health reason. I hope he heals up. So, but because of the number that's out right now, they have 216 is the current number for what they need to clear a voting line. And because they have 217, if everybody shows up, Republicans can get something to the floor if everybody agrees. And on a lot of fronts, they don't. There is enough fracture in the Republican Party because maggots, some of them, I guess, are either waking up to or having to face constituents who are waking up to the fact that they were bamboozled by Trump or lying the whole time. I would argue, why is that a choice? I think it's kind of both. I think they participated in the bamboozle because anybody who was like, he's a good Christian man, he's a hero, he loves America first. Anybody who bought that when he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein for 27 years and arguably still is, this is, we'll put that on the again, my favorite conspiracy theory, and we're allowed to have one, right? Yeah, it's a good one. So currently 216 is the magic number for them to get stuff through. But if they don't have all of them, it ends up that they have to drag Lauren Boebert over the Situation Room and yell at her for voting for a discharge petition to put something on the floor that everybody voted for. Let's just consider that for a second. That the discharge petition on the Epstein law, 4 Republicans crossed over with all of the Democrats. All Democrats voted on the discharge petition to release the Epstein files. All Democrats, every last Democrat, from the most liberal and progressive to the most conservative Democrat, all of them. But the only reason it passed, because of the numbers, because that's really all that matters in this circumstance, the only reason everybody else voted for it like they were heroes for the victims was because 4 Republicans crossed over. And believe me, they would have rather not had to, but Trump forced them to because he wasn't going to release this stuff. And they were more on the hook from their QAnon voters than they were Donald Trump. That their fear of those people, their constituents in a representative government, they became more afraid of those people than they were of Donald Trump for a very short period of time. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is out because of it. Lauren Boebert has broken with party 3 times, including on the Farm Bill, recently because of this. It's the weirdest trend we've ever seen. How many times have you said in the last couple of months, I can't believe I agree with ... on the Republican side because of, but you don't agree with Republicans. You're agreeing with one of 4 people, Massey and Boebert being the primaries in this, or a couple of other people that have just had moments of clarity, broken clock moments, whatever they are. You found yourself going, oh my God, they're talking sense, right? And the only reason you're talking about those people is because they're the standouts. They're the news. It's news that 4 Republicans crossed over. It's not news that every Democrat voted for this, right? And that's the way it's been. Under Hakeem Jeffries' leadership, under Schumer's leadership, by and large, on almost everything where there's some sense of clarity or something could pass, Democrats are lining up to do this. If there's posture votes or whatever, if something's going to fail, people can vote whichever direction they want to because their constituents aren't all bought in. That happens a lot. And people will, the reason people talk about Fetterman as much, which again, I agree there are a myriad of issues about, the only reason you're talking about him is because he's the standout. Same way we talked about Manchin and Sinema. Most people don't even know the names of the other Democrats in the Senate because they do their job. They are voting for Democratic priorities. It's those standouts. Now, do those standouts, would you have a Manchin, Sinema, and Fetterman issue if we had 60 votes in the Senate? No. Those people could vote against it and it would still pass. That's the issue. And again, why voting matters. Now, yeah, no Phil today. He's all right. They've got show stuff. They're trying to get Yeah, on the edge, back up, and that kind of stuff. So, all right. By April 26th, there are 5 total House vacancies in this Congress. 3 deaths, 2 resignations. Recent reporting shows that there are 2 resignations and 2 possible expulsions are on the table for, were on the table earlier in April they'll take a little while and, special elections again, which will only hold till the fall. And Republicans are hoping that they put somebody in that makes people forget who they voted in last time so that that person can basically ride in as the incumbent and people will just check the box. That's what they're hoping for. So they're holding this off as long as they possibly can so that they don't have to fight 2 primaries in this. Thomas Keene, who's from New Jersey, again, missed 50 roll calls. There are, let's see, right now, yeah, I mean, it's HIPAA and all that other stuff. We don't know and we can't know. Right now, in 2026, today, in reality, on Earth 1, ladies and gentlemen, there are, according to Democratic leadership, 44 seats in play. 44 critical districts in play for Democrats to take them from the Republicans that they could, that they could guarantee the control of, that, sometimes go, they're in purple districts, but they're definitely, leaning Democrat this time around, and they'll either maintain their Democratic seat or they will put one in. 44. It's largely Republican held seats that they're looking at, though. So 44, the majority of these seats, these 44 seats, are Republican held right now because of the Trump sweep last time. But Dems, think that these are 44 they really can make progress on. If Democratic voters show up this fall, these seats will make the difference. And that will, there are 3 seats needed to flip control to the Democrats in this circumstance because of the people that are being put in or that died and are going to be replaced more than likely with another Democrat or the like. The seat is a safe Democrat, but there's just nobody permanently in the seat right now, and they haven't held a special election because the Republicans that hold the state in the House in that place are dragging on the special election specifically for this purpose. There are 3 opportunities this fall, as I see it. One is a scrape by almost the baseline, which gives us a 3-seat majority. 3, which is almost as high as Republicans have had, between 4 and 5, but 3 would be the bare majority. We flip 3 seats, maintain all of our seats, and the people that are were dead we reelect a Democrat in that seat. Okay.
Is this for a combination between the House and Senate?
No, this is just the House currently. Okay. We're talking about the House first. Senate's a bigger deal, but the current number that the Democrats think are, and this is why there's panic in the White House, that's why the redistricting is happening, is actually 10 to 15 seats. That's why you'll hear on the Republican side adding 12 seats. You'll notice that they bring up that number a lot. We're adding 12 seats through redistricting in different states and that kind of stuff. That's what they're attempting to do. The California fight about redistricting is basically zeroed those 12 seats out. So that's a wash, and that's why the Republicans are trying it in other states between now and the election. The Save America Act that they're pushing, which is garbage and ridiculous and has a bunch of other, grotesque riders on it to try and, throw red meat at Republican voters to get them vote for it. Anti-trans stuff, anti-immigrant stuff that they will tie into the Save America Act to try and get people to go, well, I may not like that, but I like this so much that I will get up off the couch and come vote. Unless, of course, you're J.D. Vance, in which nothing can pry you away from the couch. Couch humping. So that's 10 to 15 is the number. And that is a reasonable goal. That is well within reality. And that's what's panicking Republicans. What all the redistricting is about is to override that 10 to 15 that they're going to lose on the measures, create new ones, dissipate the voting block of Democrats in other places, that kind of thing. All right. So the other one is, Cook 270 to win ratings of these things have summarized the 270 winners here. 213 rated solid or likely lean Democrat, 213 seats. 205 are solidly likely lean Republican. So right now, in how they're judging these, the locked in Democrats are guaranteed 213, Republicans guaranteed 205. There are 17 toss-ups in how they look at it. According to Dave Wasserman, Democrats are substantial favorites for control because Republicans have to win, and get this, they have to win 76% of the toss-up races to keep the House. 76%. And if that doesn't motivate people to come out and do the least little bit of voting to guarantee that Republicans don't run roughshod over the Constitution the way that they're doing, treat people like cattle, again, sell off big chunks of America to the highest bidder. We got to take a break. If we just do the least little bit, that's what the chances are. Imagine if everybody showed up, all those 6 million people who didn't vote for Harris, use the shame and ignominy and regret that they should feel if they truly believe in voters' rights and people's rights and workers' rights and all that. If they truly believe in those things, if they showed up, 44 districts are competitive. 44. The sweep could be enormous. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah.
Agreed, Brandon. Brandon says
all need to find the
Republicans
courage to stand up to people when they say
Republicans won't win 76% even with the new redistricting. I agree. And not only that, but the redistricting itself waters down the purity of the districts they create. It may not give, the Congressional Black Caucus, a couple of members the way it should, but it means that the voters in those other blocks are now weighing on the overall electorate, and it becomes harder to put a Chip Roy or a future Marjorie Taylor Greene in that seat, selling anything Trump wants he gets to the electorate. They have to at least start talking to the voters in the middle. Now, again, it's the numbers that matter.
About how to use the Bible for believers and atheists.
There's John Fugelsang.
If you don't believe in Jesus, if you're debating a right-wing Christian on any of the issues that divide us, Jesus is probably on your side, whether he's a literal figure or not. They don't care about.
That's John Fugelsang on one of the other shows. I'm just saying, we love John.
Give a damn what God tells you to do in the Bible.
So,
they care about conservative Christian power. That's it. Jesus's movement was all about humanity and all about humility. He was not about total right-wing domination of the school board.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Whoa there. Where do you think you two are
So,
going? This is a union-only job site.
Hi, we're from ABOC, a leading business and labor union bank founded over 100 years ago in Chicago.
Good to know. We only let union members on this site.
ABOC was founded by labor union members. We have union leaders on our board and union employees to this day.
Okay, you've got my attention.
As you know, labor union banking requires experience and expertise.
Tell me about it.
Hi there. Labor unions get the advantage of our oversight and regulatory experience.
Get to the good part.
Hundreds of labor unions trust ABOC for their banking, including treasury management, investments, and construction loans like this one.
You worked on this job?
We sure did.
Just ask your boss.
Okay, why didn't you say so? Come on in.
Thanks.
Hey, don't forget your hard hats.
Trust ABOC, the bank for labor unions.
Hey, learn more at ABOC.com. ABOC is the brand name for Amalgamated Bank of Chicago. Member, FDIC.
Today, 1 in 5 working age
Hey,
Americans
listen.
has a mental health condition.
Hey,
People
listen.
in all types of jobs.
There you go. Back up here. Mhm. Yes, Major Ojeda's got a very strong chance of flipping a seat, a very red seat. That would be fantastic and such a flip. Oh my God. Good man. Mm-hmm. It's a good question, Hal Beckery. I love the English language and all of its quirks.
Darn it. I didn't time this well. I got to pee one more time.
Oh, dear. Let's see if I can get this. Mm-hmm. Stretch this out. Mm-hmm. This graph, oh, there. Wait. Oh, there's Chicago's back in. Hello, Chicago. Hello, Chicago. We lose you for a second. They're back. Okay.
We're back.
Are we? I mean, Chicago
I don't know.
jumped. They jumped out and jumped back in. Chicago, are we live? Are we back?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, all right. Well, welcome back. So on screen right now, here, I'll bring Johnny Million in so you can see this as well. Here you go.
I can't see it unless I'm on the screen.
I know. I'm doing that for you. There you go. Thank you. Drywit Geeks thing is still. So this, if you'll notice, this is a chart of the chances of the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party taking over the Senate. And if you'll notice, up until October 2025 into 2026, it started to narrow, but it was pretty far apart. Democrats basically zero chance, but almost parallel. There was some crisscross earlier this year, especially at the beginning of the Iran war, and then it's floated around. And Democrats took the lead on this. Republicans it's basically neck and neck. But in the last few weeks, the chances of Democrats taking the Senate has gone up 5% to now they have just over 50%, 50.5%, according to this, according to Polymarket anyways. And Republicans have a 49.5% chance. They have gone down equally. They're now at 49.5%. It is neck and neck, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to argue about how many Democrats might be somewhere, whether we'll get 23 seats or 25 seats or 15 seats or what have you, the real nail biter is in the Senate. And if the Republicans, maintain control of the Senate, we're in the same situation that when Trump was impeached last time, for the record. So in this particular case, if this doesn't motivate people to show up and actually change the mechanics of why you would vote and when you would vote and how you would vote, I don't know quite what would. It is definitely necessary. It is neck and neck. And by the way, I see a weird dented version of the Stanley Cup. I don't know what you guys are seeing in this chart, and it's filth.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
See that?
See that? See the Stanley Cup? All right. So right now, what are the numbers for Democrats this time out, Johnny Million, in terms of these? There are 17 toss-ups to control the gavel.
Right.
If there is a sweep, if there's a low-end sweep, almost all of them, we do really, really well, but we don't get all of them, but we do really well, really, really well. Democrats are looking at 230 seats in the Senate. I mean, in the House, rather, in the House.
Right.
And if we sweep it entirely, it's 235, 234, something around those lines. But still, it will take a lot of effort to get there, but it's absolutely doable. even with the redistricting, all of that. Thank you, Hal Vickery. He sees the Stanley Cup. I wasn't wrong. I can't be the only person who was watching hockey last night. So a low-end sweep gives us 230. That's just the Cook toss-ups, the 17 seats. An aggressive DCCC sweep gives us mid 230s. So let me address what really matters. Blue to super blue to, ultraviolet blue or whatever. I don't know, like Superman's outfit blue to some sort of deep, dark navy blue, whoever you're voting for. Okay. The numbers in the House are the only thing that matters. I've been saying this for a long time. The DCCC and the DNC specifically have one job: turn red districts purple, purple districts blue. Now, interestingly enough, you know who's doing the work of turning the red districts purple? Republicans. Because that's what happens when you redistrict.
I'm being horrible.
Besides just having their own voters turn on them, which is another way of doing this. The other way of doing this is you dissipate a solid blue district into, 3 other districts. You break that vote up. And in a situation where you have 80-20 Republican, if you break that up into that situation, you might end up with, 60-40 Republican, but they still have it, right? And they might still think of that as a sound voting block. But if you're already operating a 60-40 Republican district, which a lot of Republicans have inflated into a sweep, a mandate, super popularity, even with not even including all the people who've taken it on the heel and toe from the Republican Party and the breakaway maggots and all that kind of stuff, which lowers their number as well. But they've been telling themselves that a 60-40 district is solidly red. If you move other people into that district, that 40% that's already there doesn't really change. It expands. Sure. It doesn't go down. It doesn't shrink because you're bringing people in from a solid blue district into that 60-40 district. That's why the toss-up number gets bigger even when Republicans are redistricting. It's also why redistricting, by and large, over time, is a failed strategy. It's why they only do it based on the census every other decade or whatever, the schedule is. The reason you do it like that is because it's got to represent, the district should represent the people in the area, the counties that are there, how they're divided and how their internal governments in the state should function. You shouldn't have these, like Jim Jordan's district, which looks very much like the dragon/duck shrimp in the original Dungeons and Dragons game on the Atari. You know what I mean? It's got the curly tail and the only noise it could make was, which was terrifying. That if you have a district like that you're protecting a red candidate, you can have somebody like Jim Jordan. But if you water it down by making it a real district or eliminating a very blue district nearby and absorbing it, suddenly that scheme that they created Jim Jordan's district out of whole cloth falls apart. It's why there's really not a push in sensible Democrats and sensible Republicans, even when they used to exist, for redistricting to be your reelection strategy, because it doesn't work. It's long-term, it hurts your national prospects. Not only does it hurt your national prospects in terms of, how many people you have in the House, which matters, because it starts making your voters narrowcast to an area, but it also makes it harder for people like Jim Jordan, who's been in the House forever, to not move up and be a senator or a governor or eventually president in those situations, because they have such a refined electorate in those areas that they don't break out to the rest of the state, even much less the rest of the country. So you create this artificial voting block on your own that has a glass ceiling on it. Republicans, because they don't care about broader majorities and the buy-in from the rest of the public, that they view it as really landowners should only be the people that should vote. That's what a republic is all about. And if a governor decides he doesn't like the way his state is voting, he can just zero out what the people are saying and pass up whoever he thinks should win the presidency up the chain. That's how the Republicans have viewed how voting should work. Democrats, for better or worse, and I personally believe this, believe everyone should have a right to vote and participate in it. And if it means they're making, terrible choices, then we got work to do, not them. But right now, there are 17 toss-ups, 44 seats even beyond that that Democrats really believe they have a chance at, and only 3 of them needed to change the gavel from Republican to Democrat. So the question is, if for all the people who are like, there's no difference, then why participate in even the discussion online? Why be a part of, why even have a party or no party affiliation if you think everybody's bought and paid for and it was over before the race started?
Yep.
Then I don't know what your input is. I mean, it's basically like the sovereign citizen attitude. But if you do care at all about yourself and your family and the people in your community that might be on the receiving end of a lot of the awful that Republicans are doing and have planned, because this is just, Donald Trump is signing executive orders that are basically pages out of Project 2025. But if you want to see those things become actual legislation, let Republicans keep control of the House and the Senate. But if you're going to do that, at least admit it. At least admit that you're a faux aggressive and you never really believe this stuff, and that the Palestinians had it coming, and that poor people should, pull their own weight, and they've been a drag on society, and you can't save some people, and immigrants have got to go. Just, say it out loud.
Yeah.
But if you're going to at least pretend you care, one of the most obvious things you can do is vote. Show up and vote. And vote for the party, the actual party that can gain control. And if there's an independent in your district that's going to caucus with the Democrats, that's fine. Angus King being what he is, right? That's fine. Bernie Sanders being what he is, that's fine. But to pretend that Harris would have done any of the stuff that Donald Trump is doing in terms of wrecking businesses through tariffs, basically creating this backdoor VAT tax and all that kind of stuff, and also just destroying our standing in the world while enriching himself. If you think Harris would have done that, I would honestly go get one of those Trump cognitive tests, and I'll help you out. The camel is not bumpy horse. So we'll be back right after this. Yeah, we'll be back right. The person, woman, man, hornswoggle.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Right. We'll be back right.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. How'd you do that? We'll be back right after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. By the way, they keep giving him the same test, the same page. They don't change. It's the same one every time.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM.
Yeah, it's the Cogswell cognitive test. It's the same test they give you if you've been hit in the head with a 2x4 or you've just walked off a football field with other people helping you, and you've been in hospital for 2 days. Both sides do it is a cop-out at best, and a lie to cover a secondary agenda at worst. Other than that, I have no opinion. Yep. Okay. The race for Ohio Senator Justine Toss-Up from Republican this month. Largely because of Republican hatred for J.D. Vance. Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
Mm-hmm.
King of the Riz.
He is magic.
You're listening to WCPT 820.
I am happy, you are happy. Let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky. Let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. Because isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling. Let us smile together, whether the weather is cloudy or stormy. I will still be there in the morning. I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning. I hope that you like cereal.
So let me run you through some of the good news possibilities in the election this fall. If all the people who say they care actually care. That's all I ask. If you say you care, just act like it. Translate it into action this fall. Okay, here we go. So I mentioned the Ohio Senate race was leaning Republican. Now it's officially in the toss-up column. That's a big deal, largely because
That's pretty cool.
Because of people being mad about J.D. Vance and hating that, viewing him as a mistake on multiple fronts. Arizona, depending on the final lineup, is either open or Republican held during the race, but it is in the competitive column. Democrats are viewing this as a top flip opportunity because Mark Kelly is beloved in the state, and there's a chance that the other seat will go in this maverick state that had John McCain for a long time, a guy who famously gave a thumbs down to Trump's attempt to destroy the ACA in the first place. That's the way that state actually leans. You know, John McCain was not just doing that for himself and as a flex against Trump. He was doing it because that's what his voters wanted and needed and was best for them. Okay. Nevada, where I currently am, and I'm now registered to vote. You're welcome. It is a true battle. It's listed as a true battleground toss-up right now. Wisconsin, within 1 to 2 points. It's in the competitive band across all forecasts. Then there are a bunch of races that shifted Democrat in the last few months, especially around the Iran war, but also in dealing with Epstein and the failure of the tariffs and Trump's ballroom nonsense. There's a bunch of things driving these things, and more likely a lot of this is because the very thing that I'm warning Democrats not to do, Republicans are planning on doing, or groups of them are doing this fall, which is sitting out. Okay. North Carolina, Tom Tillis obviously is leaving. It has moved from a toss-up state to a lean Democratic race. That has happened just recently. There you go. John Ossoff's, which was counted as a toss-up, even though he's been great for the state, is now lean Democrat. He has a strong cash advantage, and the Republicans are in a three-way primary where they will eat each other, trying to either force themselves closer to or farther away from Trump at any given month. So, whoever ends up there is not going to have a clean message that they're going to be able to send to voters this fall.
Yeah.
Ohio, again, has gone to toss-up. Nebraska has always been solidly Republican. It has now moved to lean Republican, likely, but still, that is a huge shift in Nebraska that there's a lot of shrugging going on. So Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Ohio are real chances for a surprise on election night. North Carolina and Georgia are now rated a lean Democrat versus a toss-up. North Carolina and Georgia, leaning Democrat. Still hotly contested. It is. It's great. But again, only if the voters show up. Only if the people who say this stuff means something to them actually show up and vote. And then long shot, obviously, the Nebraska race. So the odds in this is that Republicans have gone from the narrow favorites to win the Senate to the Democrats being a narrow favorite to take the Senate. But they're the biggest chance that they have, right? The expectation is we will flip 1 to 3 seats, but we will still have 1 vote shy to control the Senate unless everybody shows up and it's a blue tsunami. If there's a blue tsunami, Senate, the Democrats will have the House and the Senate. And Donald Trump's agenda, or J.D. Vance's agenda, will be curtailed and controlled and limited specifically by this. And then when a Democratic president, God willing, comes in, there will be a movement towards actual righting of the ship. There will be a lot of cleanup done, but that's what Democratic presidents always have to do. Republicans make a mess, Democrats clean it up every single time. And yet, to those who say there's no difference whatsoever, I give you history. So Kristen Gillibrand has publicly made a very bullish statement about them, saying that Trump's chaos is giving them potential for all the makings of a blue wave, but she is, they said even she frames it as an uphill climb rather than a lock. Now, I would argue she has to. That is the messaging you're going to need to remind people that every vote counts, because it does. Because Democrats are ice skating uphill in a lot of these districts, but also Republicans are going to do everything they can to limit the vote. And I would say more than any other thing, if there's a thing that would motivate even the most unmotivated voter who still thinks voting has value at all, even locally, vote for the party that wants all citizens to vote, as opposed to the party that is always trying to purge any voter that doesn't look like them or vote their way, period. That seems as clear cut as anything could be in this particular situation.
There's a reason.
There's a reason. That's right. And it goes all the way back to that Paul Weyrich quote. But nonpartisan handicappers all over the place think that we're going to gain seats in the Senate, but we need that fourth vote to change the direction of the Senate. We just need one more than we are likely forecast to win. One. So this is a map that Republicans will be defending more than they will be, aggressively moving forward. Trying to keep track of the clock because we're running out of time. And I want to thank everybody for the super chats. Bless you guys for both our Patreon supporters and all that stuff. And reminder, Johnny Million, I'm going to make so that you can join us on stage at the Vixen for the Nerd Halen show 2 weeks from today. I'm coming to Chicago. I will be in Cleveland the night before and Pittsburgh the night before that, doing the Nerd Halen thing. And it will be a joy to remind everybody that this is what we're fighting for. We're fighting for people to be able to live their lives and not white knuckle their government. And these are the kind of things we want people to focus on. Specifically. So, but before we go, there is, where is it? I want to find this. I'm going to see if I can find this little quote. Paul Weyrich. There's a famous quote, and I think, this is the Goo voter quote. This is the founding father of the conservative movement, founder of the religious right, fall in 1980. Reagan.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo syndrome. Good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
There you go. There is Jerry Falwell.
It could not be more clear.
They've been saying this forever. And again, I'd like to remind everybody that more than anything, Donald Trump is a typical Republican. He is louder. He's gross. He's got all this other baggage. But when it comes to legislation, his tax cuts came right off of Mitch McConnell's desk. His war powers, overreach and all that stuff came right out of PNAC. It's the same thing. And anybody who's telling you that both sides do it has to explain to me why Biden got us out of Afghanistan after Trump ran on it, and didn't keep us in, and even tried to talk Obama out of it. Biden specifically, bless his heart, tried to warn Obama that the generals are going to tell you they just need a couple more months. They're always going to say that, and it's going to be ugly, and everybody's going to hate you for it, but you just got to pull that Band-Aid off. You got to do it. And he did, and he carried that weight when everybody else was a coward. All this whole thing, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much, everybody in Chicago. Just remember, care enough to actually move. Movimiento es vida. Movement is life. Vote. We'll see you next week.
From the heart of Chicago, it's WCPT 820.
That's right.
We did
Thanks,
it.
Chicago. Thank you.
Thanks, Chicago.
Bless you. Appreciate. They just muted themselves because of the commercials, which I appreciate, and so thank you very much. Are
Yeah,
you
they
live
got it all
streaming?
figured out, I guess.
Are you? I
love
know
it.
it's amazing. Well, they're doing it
Yeah.
actively on their thing instead of doing it from the board. I can see them doing it, which is fine. They're doing it
I
on
see.
the.
Oh, they're doing
Yeah,
it
yeah.
on the browser. That's pretty smart.
Which is fine. Bye. They just waved at us in the little camera there. Thank you guys. So I'll let them go. Are
I'm
you
gonna
live
go
streaming
see
today?
Joe Satriani and Steve Vai tomorrow at the Chicago Theater.
You
cannot wait.
I'm so jealous. Did I show you the EVH guitar? Can't remember.
No, you sent me like a link to it. Do you have it?
Yeah, they sent it to me. I'm so excited.
And
So
let's see it,
for
let's
those
see
that
it.
don't know, one of the things that Nerd Halen wants to do, besides the fact that we're the only Van Halen tribute that does all three singers, because we're nerds about it, is that, when they toured live, especially with Sammy, they did some of his original material. They did, There's Only One Way to Rock.
Only One Way to Rock.
They opened with it a few times. They did
Yeah.
I Can't Drive 55,
Yeah.
which is great.
Las
I'm thinking
Tequila.
so yeah, it was pretty great. And by the way, we have added Runaround to our lineup. We're actually doing that one now, which is great. But here, I'll hold right there, Johnny.
Runaround is a lot harder than it sounds. I've been trying to learn that because a buddy of mine is recording a bunch of covers. The Convoy drummer actually is recording.
I gotta say, here it is.
Nice. How's the heel?
How do you
behind
mean?
the neck?
Oh,
like where your hand goes. Is it sharp?
It's chopped.
Yeah.
It's flat. That's the problem. I don't have that problem.
So weird.
Because I got clunky, chunky fingers, so I pretty much stay in this area. But but it was very nice. He's a
I just sent you that.
Caleb is a signatory to EVH, and a bunch of
Right.
his guitars got burned up in the fire, so he
In the
lost
fires, yeah.
3 or 4, and they replenished. They gave him, I think, 3 of them because he's signatory, and he does demos for them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he does.
And so I brought up the fact that if we're gonna do the Red Rocker stuff live, I was like, I've been looking around. I have a little like travel guitar that looks really funny. It's a little silly little pocket guitar thing that I thought would, for comedy's sake, might work. And I'm like,
It'd
I'll
be
learn
funny
them on
for
that.
Nerd Halen, yeah.
Yeah. But then I was like, I bet the EVH guys, would prefer if we stayed in line with that. So I got a wild hair up my ass, and I was just like, you think of it that someday one of those, I can use it, play with me.
As well, if you get another wild hair up your ass, you can ask and say like, Johnny, who has no affiliation with you at all.
Yeah, right.
He likes guitars.
He'll play it on his stream and on my show. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
will.
so bless them for doing this. It's amazing. And I have to say, I plugged it in. I'm going to do a couple of changes to it. I need to change the strap locks and stuff like that so I can use it live.
Yeah.
Because all of mine are the same strap locks. That's just what I do.
Right.
But
We talked about that.
Yes. But the minute I did the D minor chord, just this open D chord here, this business, forget which one it is, not the full D. Anyways, because I don't know the names of these things because I'm an ear player, but it sounds like that chord in Everybody Wants Some. It sounds exactly like it. And you're like, oh,
nice.
Yeah, it's like this thing is built to sound like it's the EVH specs, exactly the specs of Eddie's guitar. It's just the other stuff, and it has the drop D flick thing here.
Yeah, the D tuner,
which is just very exciting for me because I love me some drop D because of King's X. So I will, I hope I won't break it. But this will be fun for that part. But anyways, it was really sweet of them to do this. This is, I think, the one they did a demo of it online. To show off the line of guitars and like, here's the new ones we're putting out. And this is the one that they used in that video. So they're not going to sell it. And it's one of the early lines, and
nice.
But they're like, this
So it
will
works
just
out
sit
perfect
around
for everybody.
Exactly. It will. They're like, this will just sit around in a as a prop, and when they would rather have it played, which I think is beautiful. I think all musical instruments
yeah.
should be played. And so they sent me this guy, and it was all set up when it got here. Didn't come in a case. It was just in a cardboard box, all wrapped
Yeah.
up. And I was like, it's going to sound like crap, like Prince's cloud guitar when he gets it from Apollonia and he goes, flang. And it wasn't. It was in tune, and it was just like, hold on,
Hell
wait
yes.
1 second. I don't know that do I have a pick here somewhere? Yeah, hold on. This is, and I don't know if this thing will have the, but you'll see what I mean. And watch it be like out of tune because I've been messing with it.
Right.
This little guy right here. Hold on if I can do this, but. Can you hear that at all?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah. So I think my mic is on voice isolation, so it won't allow it.
Oh,
but anyways,
yeah.
I'm gonna do a little video for them and show, like, play it a little bit or whatever pretty soon, just as a thank you on my Instagram. But it was really nice of them to do this. It was fantastic. So anyways, and it's got that little stopper button, which is like the mute button.
Oh yeah, I've got kill switches installed on some of my guitars. Love
Yeah.
it.
So I will bring this with me to Chicago, and on this little thing.
Nice.
I don't know if we're going to be doing those songs yet because we have to go through rehearsals
Right.
and do all that kind of stuff. But if I have it and it's all set up or whatever, you could play it or something. Maybe we'll figure that out.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I
Oh.
mean, you'll bring your own, and you've got your special whatever. But
I've got an Eddie guitar right here.
Oh, well, now he's really gonna trounce me. Oh yeah, that's the Music Man. That's
Yeah.
that
No,
body
it's
shape.
EVH.
Right, but it's the body that he did from the Music Man one.
Yeah, it's the body that he did with the Music Man.
Yeah.
But it's
Ooh,
got
look
the
at that.
nice
Ooh, oh yeah, that little scooped
contoured heel.
area. Right. Yeah, this
Yeah.
this reminds me of the kind of old buttressed, just straight off the wall, rock guitarist in the 80s where they would just,
Oh yeah.
all the guys who
Yeah,
played
I've got a
Charbels and
D-tuna
stuff.
on it.
Oh yeah, look at that. So
Yeah.
I've got a lot of I only have one other guitar with a whammy bar on it. And I hope you guys are enjoying this in the chat. But I only have one other guitar with a whammy bar on it. It's the knockoff Steve Vai guitar that I have.
Oh yeah,
And
that mini gen.
yeah, and it's I find it very intimidating, the whole thing. Even just like tuning it and putting it together, because I always grew up like kind of an Ace Frehley guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, whammy bars, it's a hill to climb.
it is. So
Yeah.
hopefully, here's what I would like. That I'm staying the night in Chicago because of the Saturday thing. Maybe Sunday morning or something like that before I fly out on Sunday, I could come over and you could maybe show me something.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
You could maybe help me out with some of this.
You know
'cause
where you'll
you're-
be staying? What's the address?
Yeah, I'll say it on the air. It's
Yeah.
it's the is it Motel 6.2? Yeah, it's yeah, it's the Love Rub Motel or whatever. I don't know. I just saw a picture of the room
Yeah.
and it had a giant heart-shaped jacuzzi in it. And I was like, that'll do.
Yeah, that's where we met, I think.
The Bed Bug Inn. That's what it is. I was trying to remember. I always forget. Yeah, Bed Bug Hotel and Suites. That's what it is. But anyway,
Right.
so it was very cool of them to do this. Like that's
Very cool. I love
like
it.
I mean, it's I'm like I blushed when it showed up. Even when they said they
I
were
would've
going to,
too.
I was like, "Oh Lord." So anyway,
madness.
and it's heavy. Like
Yeah.
heavier than I would expect. It's it's one of those. Like you need like the strap on it is going to have to be, I'm going to have to lengthen, balance it differently because it'll do what my Les Pauls do.
Oh, cool. That's fantastic.
It's a chunk of wood, buddy. This thing, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just saying if there was a tsunami or whatever, or a super volcano and Nevada turned into a giant lake or something like that, and I had to like turn my car into a boat to save my family, I could use this as a rudder or as a paddle.
Yeah.
Because
You
it
can
would
float.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I could probably float on it. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was really lovely of them, and I thought I'd show it to you because I love you, and
Nice.
I knew you would appreciate it. And thank you,
Oh,
chat
yeah, I
room,
do.
for indulging us for that moment. We missed you too, Steve. It's probably mahogany. It very well probably is. I will have to look it up. My knockoff Les Paul sounds better than a real Les Paul. Well, I'm a big fan of buying crap guitars, electric guitars anyways, and messing around, like adding the electronics that I like just to
Oh, yeah.
experiment. Because if I took a $3,000 Les Paul or something like that and started swapping out
You don't
pickups,
want to touch it. You don't want to
yeah,
change it. You're like, oh,
yeah,
this is exactly how it's going to be for the duration.
right, because it's supposed to, it's designed. Those
Yep.
guys are craftsmen; they know what they're doing. But if I buy like a $300 guitar off of eBay, like I figure all bets are off.
Yep.
And that's what she said. Thank you, Jamie.
I know.
So, anyways, love you guys. Hit the like if you would on your way out the door, and don't forget Johnny has a live stream as well. It's Johnny Million on Twitch and YouTube. You should subscribe there as well as subscribe here, and there we go. So, and I've been recording a bunch lately, obviously, and I'm going to bring a piece. I might send it to you ahead of time that I want you to solo
That'd be
over.
cool.
Yeah.
I am in. I'm ready to solo. I've got all my whittly diddlies ready for you.
Thank you. Yes, I want some look at me's.
Look at me. Look at me.
1060 West Addison. Yeah, that's where I'm staying.
Yep.
Yep. That's my home address in Chicago. If anybody wants to drop by and say hi.
Yep. See you there.
Hi, Steve. Of course with you, Gonzo. How you doing? Long time no see. And Made in America doesn't mean quality. They rush it out to meet their numbers. Well, it depends on who they are. Because like I've been to the ESP custom shop here it's in Los Angeles. It's in the Valley, and they make that stuff right there. They got their own paint shop and all this stuff. There's a bunch of ones that are made in Korea that they do, but even those are really well put together. Like the Korean.
Yeah, Korea's not bad.
No, they're really good. I think Mexican Strats gave everybody the icks for a while. And the idea is
Mexican Strats. Yeah, I mean, it may not sound super appealing, but those are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Accidentally. It's like one of those guitars where like they decided to make it out of cheap wood and it was great somehow.
It's so good.
Anyways, I love you. I will see you later. Have a great day.
Love you too.
Talk to
I
you
will
later.
talk
You're
to you
awesome.
soon.
Okay. And
Safe
chat
travels.
room. All right. I'll let you go. And there he goes. Johnny Million, everybody. And hi, chat room. How's Boys Town? North Halstead these days? It's lovely. I will have to say that the Gay and Lesbian Center on Halstead is one of the best LGBT centers in the country, if not the best, I would say. Obviously I'm not a member of the community, but because of QAF, I'm often thought of as gay adjacent, as it were. I get to benefit from the zip code, but I'm not actually I don't live in the district. Is Charvel still a thing? Yes, it is. I actually applaud Chicago's LGBT center. I gave my brother-in-law Ace Frehley album, and he died that day. Oh, I hope that's a joke somehow. We have a tornado. Yes, be careful in Florida right now with the tornadoes, folks. Always use your PRS through a Bogner ecstasy. That's a pretty bitchin' lineup. Funny story. I was listening to JP Artist, TM Revolution. I was thinking how much he's Japanese House Sparks. Oh, I appreciate that. I hope that's not an insult to him. So, anyways, this is Lab Rats reunion coming. If only. It's not off the. It currently it is the only thing that I would cut my hair immediately for. There are things I would cut my hair for, but I'd have to be like, all right, is this a contract? Are we doing this for real? Is this, worth doing? Is it well written? But if they called tomorrow and said, hey, we're doing a movie and it's, next week, I'd be like, I'd have a pair of scissors in the bathroom like that day. So, but anyways, it was really awesome of the EVH guys to do this. And it's a beast. It's pretty great. I do have to get used to the setup on this because I'm not used to like locking bridge, kind of guitars because I'm, well, you know what? I've always thought of myself as less of a craftsman in that area and more of a rhythm player. But I'm, as Johnny said last time I was over, I'm no slouch. So, there you go. Yes, Nerd Halen is in Pittsburgh very soon. We are in Pittsburgh on the Thursday, the 21st. As you will see in the ads that are coming your way as I leave the showroom and let you guys go. Are we raiding anybody? Is there anybody to raid? Or are we just off because it's Saturday? Just saying. Who think we don't know? But anyways, thanks for coming, Gonzo. It's good to see you. Wear a wig, don't cut it. Well, like I said, most things I wouldn't, but thanks, Gonzo. Humility is not one of my things. I just have a realistic view of my capabilities at a certain point, but I work to get better. Okay, we're going to raid Trucker John. Excellent. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. I will see you Monday, if not sooner. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. Wrong one. No, that's my fault, Andrea.
While still warm with the ghost of us, naming my mouth cuts too much. Half a thought and it folds in two, like a bruise leaves a mark on you. Don't hurt in my shaking hand, know something I don't understand. Like ghosting at the edge of me, something there that I just can't see. Just me. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so It's the same sad song, empty space that was here all along. Every step is a borrowed shape, every second a vain escape. Laughter crying out for sin, summer stealing the autumn wind. There's a face that I almost know through a window where I won't go. If you're there, don't let me see. Things I do in my hands and the way I speak, in the cracks when I try to sleep. And you sit like you always did, never answer, just nod your head. If I reach, do you disappear? Goodbye, you are never here. Don't touch the door. Don't touch the door. If it opens, there's so much downside out, downside out. I need to go where I don't belong. Downside out, downside out. I need to go where it feels so Stay a while, don't make a sound. I get lost when you're not around, and I don't know which one is worse. You're being on me first.
That's the Cleveland show. Just saying. See you guys soon.